It's the one on with the Sputnik. Bring you guys another gameplay commentary. This is Elder Scrolls Online, and this is one of those occasional tips video because I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that get questions about how to become better at this game. And there's so many videos on YouTube telling you how to get better, but I think this is not a rule, but for all intents and purposes, you should definitely be, like, if you want to get better at PvP, for all intents and purposes, you should, like, seek out a PvP player. Right? There are some exceptions. They do have some PvE players that can give you somewhat of a rundown on how to become better at this game. But this game has so many variables, so many things that you have to take into consideration that I've always broken things down into like 4 categories. I won't go over those categories, but one of them for me, right, and it's not in any ordered fashion, but it has to fall within one of these 4 categories, and that's rotation, right? And how the ease of use is when it comes to being in actual combat, right? It makes absolutely no sense to me, right? If you're in actual combat and your rotation is just flunky because you made it that way, right? You have a lot of players who activate so many skills before they go offensive. You have so many players who have to activate so many skills just in order to go defensive. And my thing is, keep it simple. Like, some classes are just very, very, very simple, right? It doesn't require any extensive rotation for you to be good at that class, right? A class that requires a lot of rotation is Stamden. A lot of players give that class some shit, but if your rotation is at that point where it's just really good, you'll be a really good Stamden. But if it's bad, you'll get around. But if your rotation is really good in that class, because there's so many skills that you have to touch, and if your rotation is impeccable, you'll be fine. Now, the opposite of a class that, I mean, of course, there's also Magic and Nightblade, with the rotation is pretty difficult as well. And I'm saying difficult in terms of having to activate particular skills, right? And then and the number of skills that you have to activate. To me, I've always been of that mindset. The less skills you have to activate in order to go defensive, in order to go offensive, the better it is for you, right? And that's one of the rules I always, try to stick to. So I think Sorks are in between, but they've done so many things now to kind of require you to do an extra step, go to another skill. Like Crystal Frags used to stun, and so that took away the need for an actual, like, bona fide CC, right? You had a lot of really good players who would just time that damage with the CC, but they've since done so many things to Sorks that their rotation used to be very simple. Even though they had to, stack shields and things of that nature, they've made it a lot more difficult now. They've actually added another step where they have to CC a player, right? When they could have CC'd a player and add damage to it, and that goes along with their burst. Implosion was also changed, so that's another step a Sork has to, adjust to. So in the past, Sork's rotation used to be a lot simple, but they were just deadly. Stamden, Magic and Nightblade, Magic and DK as well. Rotation is somewhat difficult, and that's why it's somewhat strange, right? The more difficult the class it is to play, the more strong the class is, right? Like Magic and Nightblades are really good if you know how to play them well. Magic and DKs are really good if you know how to play them well. Stamdens are really good if you know how to play them well. You pretty much say that for almost all classes. But a class where the rotation is very simple, and you can keep it simple. Some players don't want to do that. Is a Stamplar. A Stamplar's rotation, to me, out of all of the classes in this game, it's very simple. Maybe with an exception of a Stamp Sword. But the rotation is very simple. When you go from offense to defense. So let me just show you guys my bar. And I'll also address something. Like a lot of players I don't think they have issues, but they think, this skill can be used, this spot can be used a little bit better. However, I'm of the opposing opinion, and it's based on what I just said, right? The ease of use and your rotation. So a lot of players, not a lot, but a decent amount of players would slot this skill, Accelerate. This skill will make you more, give you better results than Evil Hunter, right? It will definitely give you better results. But I don't think that, those results outweigh the ease of use when it comes to your rotation. And this is a tip. The ease of use when it comes to your rotation, and the fact that it not only gives you crit, right? A lot of players will counter and say, well, you get crit from here, right? You get crit from this skill, but in a heated fight, this lasts for 8 seconds. I don't think it's enough. And if you're an experienced player, I guarantee you it's not enough, because sometimes it'll be, it's just not enough, to me at least. And you don't want to have to switch to your front bar to use a skill when you're going defensive, right? So just keep that in mind. So yes, Accelerate will give you better utility in terms of how you use it. But to me, the ease of use far outweighs the benefit of that skill, right? So, let's go back to what I said about Stamplar. It's a very easy rotation, right? Very easy rotation. To go offensive, you pop this, you pop that, and you're done. Effectively, 2 skills, right? I would always pop a Vigor, so you can go offensive, because it's a heal over time. So that would be 3. Okay, 3. But the bare minimum would just be 2. You pop your rune and you pop your rally, and then you go offensive, right? And that's it, right? When you're getting ready to activate your skills, Power of the Light, Rending, and then jabs. That's it. You can also put in a CC, but you're already ready to go offensive, right? And that's what I mean by ease of use. Like, if you want to get better at this game, that's the thing you need to focus on as well. Like, how will my rotation hold up in a long, drawn-out fight? How will my rotation hold up when I need to go defensive? So some players suggested that I make this my back bar, my dual wield, and put rally on this. I'm sorry, put vigor on this and put rally on my front bar, so I can go with jabs. I just don't. There are many reasons I'm not doing that. Look, I'm not an expert in a Stamplar, but I like the ease of use. So I like the fact that my defensive rotation is on my back bar. So let's say I get hit with something. I go back here. I never have to go to my front bar at all. if I want to stay alive, this is where I need to be, right? I pop my rune, I cleanse, my vigor, and then I'm waiting for my rally. I never have to switch back and go this way. So that's why, to me, the ease of use is important. So the rule is, to me, that you want to make your rotation as easy as possible. The less skills you have to activate to essentially start going offensive or going defensive, the better it is for you, the better it is for your muscle memory, and the better it is for your overall proficiency at the class. Right? I play multiple classes, and all of my skills are usually set up in the same spot. Right? My defensive skills are set up in the same spot. My offensive skills are set up in the same spot. That's how it's always been. Right? So like that, if you're in deep shit, you know for a fact, hey, you have a rotation that can help you out. Right? You know for a fact that it's not faulty. If you're pressuring a player, you know for a fact, hey, this is my rotation I'm going to go with. And the thing is, you should always switch it up. Sometimes you get caught up into this, you get lulled into this belief that, oh, that player won't figure out what your rotation is, right? Sometimes you have to switch it up. Sometimes, I'll pop Power of the Light and go right into jabs and then Dawnbreaker, or Power of the Light, into my CC, then Dawnbreaker. You just switch it up, just to switch it up. Sometimes I don't even use Power of the Light, and I just start jabbing right away. You have to switch things up because players will start to figure you out, and the moment they do that, it's the moment they start dodge rolling or start blocking your skills. And then what will happen is they'll go offensive on you, and you essentially won't know what to do. So that's pretty much the tip. That's pretty much the tip. Just try to make your rotation as easy as possible. Try to be able to go from offense to defense as quickly as possible, and defense to offense as quickly as possible, and just maintain that rotation. And the ease of use also allows you to maintain your buffs. Sometimes when you have to go through four, five, six, well, not six, but four skills, sometimes 5 skills to get into your actual defensive rotation, you're not looking at how your buffs are. You're not really looking at how, what the player is doing offensively or defensively. So if there's anything I can say to you guys who want to get better at ESO, maintain your rotation. Make sure your rotation is very simple. You do not want complicated rotations. Even at higher level play, you just want to keep it simple, right? And the Templar is like a perfect example. Like I said, Stamsork is probably the only class that comes before it in terms of rotation, because they have Dark Deal and they have Hurricane on their back bar, right? Vigor's front bar, and it depends on what you're playing, but that's their defensive rotation. It used to be a lot difficult too when they played heavy, crit surge, the whole slew of things they would have to keep up. But now it's a little bit different because of the changes. Magicka, Stam DK, very, very simple, right? They have 2 Magicka dumps, but their rotation is very simple. Especially if you're playing 2-hand and bow, it's a very simple rotation. If you're playing sword and board, it's a very simple rotation as well. You might have a few more steps, like your back bar will be, Reverb, Igneous, the skill that gives you Major Ward, Major Resolve, and then Vigor. Front bar, you have a few things you can use. I don't really use dots. I tend to just go Dizzy, and that's how I've always played it. To make it very simple. Is it as effective as if you were to run dots? I don't think so. The way the game is now, dots are very important. But even saying all of that, I would definitely just focus on that. Keeping your rotation very simple, so it's not serious. And when you go offensive, you know what to do. When you go defensive, you can be there. So the player is not just walking through you because like your rotations are off. And you should definitely work on your offensive and defensive rotation. I know it's somewhat difficult now. You go to duel someone and they're ready to just clip the shit on you. But you're not a known player. If you want to get better, I'm almost certain you're not a known player. So you shouldn't even worry about that. You might be in some clips, or if people honor the fact that you put spar in whisper or in area chat and they adhere to that, then great. If they don't, you're at their mercy. Anyway, it's the one with the Sputic. I'm out.